everyone. Thank you for joining me. My name is Carlos. Today, I'm going to be getting into the last session, which was delt and arms. And the subject also will be what I'm doing to move from strict PR, high intensity training into a more higher volume based approach. Now, why am I changing my approach? There's several reasons. First and foremost, I'm topping out with my max weights. I've stagnated, I've hit a wall, and to progress further, to get another 5 pounds, to get another 10 pounds or another plate, is going to require a significant amount of effort, which I am not prepared to do, for the second reason, in a calorie restriction. So, calorie overabundance, calorie surplus is where you want to make your strength and muscle gains by and large. I mean, you can still recomp, you can still gain some strength while you're losing body fat, but it's not the best approach if what you want to do is get lean and lose a majority of your body fat. You should not really, or at least I'm not going to be training for maximum weights with low volume. A higher volume approach is called for. So what do? Well, we take advantage of the new gained territory to stay at that high plateau. Say you hit your 5 plates. This is where you made your gains. Now, you went from 3.5 to 4 to 5 plates, say in my particular case, the vertical leg press. So I'm not going to be pursuing 5.25 or 5.5 and going up to 6. What I'm going to be doing is pursuing higher reps with 5 plates and extra sets, and then back off sets with higher reps. So the total work volume will be increased. Now, psychologically, this is also a big break. Like today, I have leg day later on, and I'm not that stressed about it because I know I don't have to perform those extreme lifts. And it really takes some concentration and it takes a lot of preparation to do those lifts. If you go in and just do them willy-nilly, you get under the bar and just try to do whatever, you can hurt yourself. It's a risky proposition when you're lifting heavy weights. You have to be very careful. And so, at least for me, it always gave me a bit of anxiety when I started touching on those outer limits. Like last week, it was 6 plates on the hack. I tried a 7-plate hack squat and I couldn't perform 1 rep. And the 6 reps is hard. I build it up to 4 reps and then I twinged my adductor on 1 session. It was good to go 3 days later, but it gave me a little wake-up call, to know that this is a risky proposition. And then this week, IFBB Pro Blessing Awadabu pulled his quad from his hip, tore it off, doing a 5-plate hack squat, which I can do. So those things, it's not like unreasonable fear. It should give some caution. I'm just saying all this to explain that I'm feeling great about going in and training and not having to worry about pushing the weights higher and higher and higher. That's good to do when you're eating a lot of food. The food really helps with the strength. It really does. So now we're restricted, but we're not hungry. So what are we doing with the diet? High protein. High protein. I'm eating between 250 and 300 grams of net protein a day, which is about 2 pounds of raw meat, chicken, pork, fish, whatever. And, then I cooked, it's portioned out to like 7 ounces per meal. The carbs are getting lower and lower. The fats are always stable because I don't add fats. It's always just the fats that are in the meats. And the eggs, I've upped the eggs to 7 eggs a day, but lower the yolks from 2 to 1. So the ratio is also higher there for protein to fat. The fat is getting lower. Now, some people like to include fats, and that's fine. I'm not going to argue against it. To me, I can drop better by dropping the fats because I do have a proclivity to store the fat instantly as body fat. So everybody has to find out their own metabolism. And the carbohydrates are being, highly restricted. So morning is very low carb, and the last meal of the day is no carb or very, very little carb. Like last night, it was tenderloin pork and a piece of steamed pumpkin, which I ate half of. And it was delicious, but like no salt. I mean, a little bit of salt, but like no oils or nothing. It's just like it's like 6 calories per 100 grams. It's like, very, very little calories, very low carb. So did I say 6 calories? No, it's like net carbohydrates. But it's just very low, and it was just mostly the meat. Same. So the last few evenings has been like almost strictly keto, almost very, very low carb. Breakfast also, and during the day, it's 150 grams of cooked rice, down from the off-season high of 350 grams per portion. We brought it down to 225, then to 200, 175. And starting February, it dips down to 150, so controlling the carbs. Now, the effect that has on training, I'm not weak. I don't feel hungry at any time during the day, but it does have an effect on the muscle where I don't think you should be pushing maximum weights. At least I'm not. So, we incorporate the higher volume. We take advantage of the newfound strength. Or, you should be making these gains in the off season. I made some significant gains in these last 4 months, and so I'm at this plateau. So instead of just doing one top set and a back off set, we stay at the plateau and we work 3 to 4 working sets, building up the reps higher and higher. And of course, that increases our work capacity, greater expenditure of energy, greater skill in performing the movement, the repetitive pattern of doing a thing over and over. You get used to it. So the overhead press with 2 plates is now my baseline. It's like comfortable, even if like yesterday I only did 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 4 reps, something like that. But before I couldn't do 1. I mean, it was like the most challenging thing ever to get a plate and a half up, for the overhead press. I was never a strong presser, and now it's par for the course on every single workout. And so I'm increasing the work volume. And on the isolation exercises, there I try to push the weight a little bit, like on the barbell, not on the barbell curl so much. I like to focus more with the dumbbells. So on the dumbbell curl, been doing the 50s, just working 50s now, doing 50s, but I don't only use the 50s. I'll do a reverse pyramid or I'll work the rack. I'll do the 50s, I'll do the 40s, I'll do the 30s, and I'll finish, actually it was 50, 40, 35s. Those 35s are great. And then I drop down to 25s. Last set with the 25s. The same thing with the accessories for the shoulders. Now, a word with the shoulders, if you go on the internet, there's a lot of bashing of the front delt raise. Most overrated delt exercise. You get enough stimulation of your front delt by doing the pressing movements. And I believed this for a long time because I did a lot of pressing movements. But my front delt was not defined. It was the cut here between, because what you want with the front delt, when you get the vein here and the cut with the bicep, it's not happening with the presses, but it's starting to happen by doing this. By doing this movement here with the dumbbells. I'll soon be incorporating the barbell front raise with light weights. Like here you don't need to go crazy. It's better to get strict form, proper pump, a lot of work volume, crammed into a short period of time, and really work the contraction. So the last 2 sessions have showed me that although there's reasonable arguments for everything, for any stance that you want to take, with bodybuilding, you don't need front delt raises if you're pressing. And then I go and see the champs, like Hanny Rambod, okay? He's got like 3 Mr. Olympias this year. And, he's just like one of the best trainers in the world. And I see he has his trainees, his competitors, doing a lot of front raises. Now, they're also doing a lot of pressing movements. So why? Well, he must know better than you and me and all these influencers out there about what needs to be done. I didn't take his advice, and then one day on a whim I just started doing the front raise, and the next day I said, a little bit of vein is starting to show, and the little cut there with the biceps. That's interesting. I'm going to continue doing that. Second session, better results, better form, more work. And so I'm going to be incorporating that until it's time to move on. But because you shouldn't just stay with one routine forever. This is something I see with the older crowd, like the over 55 crowd. Some of you guys that are watching me watch these videos. You know what I'm talking about. Like some people in the older crowd are so set in their gym bro ways. They learned how to lift at the gym. They trained, but they never competed. Like they're not really bodybuilders. They go in and do routines that they were taught like 30 years ago, and you know they're just they're surprised, or they're you know they can't digest like new information very easily. It's really kind of hard. So try to get your cues from like professional coaches and people that are actually doing it. I'm actually doing this. You know, I'm moving forward. I'm making gains at 50. I'm not trying to maintain. At 58, I don't want to hear this about lightweight maintenance and stuff. I'm trying my best to grow, to get better, grow the muscles, get, you know, just better all around. And I'm doing it. Why? Because I don't listen to people who are telling me otherwise. Oh, you know, after 50, after 40. Such bullshit. My grandfather, when he was 85, was hiking up in the Sierras. He was a strong dude. And, you know, had he known anything about nutrition and bodybuilding, you know, he died at like 96, he'd still be here today. You know, very strong. So, age depends on your genetics, depends on your lifestyle, you know, and if you, and your mind also. If you really want to believe that you're done after a certain age, you know, you've been deceived, and I can't reach you. But for those who know better, you can get better at any age, really. It's, you know, unless you really are senescent, which means you're very, very old, and you're sick, you're weakly, and it's like beyond repair, it's too far gone. Sure, but if you start like in your 40s and 50s, there's a great possibility that you can still increase muscle size and muscle mass into your 60s and maybe even into your 70s and 80s. It just really depends on how committed you want to be to working hard. Because that's the other thing, optimization. People are so enthralled nowadays with the best way of doing things. Like, what is the most optimum split? What is the most optimum way to lift? And for me, it's always good to know, but it's a cop-out. People are looking for the easy way out instead of asking, what's the way I can work harder? How can I put more effort into what I do? Nobody's asking that. Of course not. They're looking for the optimization to take away from the effort. So if you optimize a thing, the efficiency fallacy, you're being more efficient, and so you don't have to work hard. And this is intrinsically, inherently a work hard activity. You want to work as hard as possible. You want to do this to the utmost. And optimization, Mr. Perfect always kills Mr. Good. Good enough, but you want to get it perfect, and it's just like, then it just doesn't work. People who always try to be perfectionists in this, I don't see it happening. It's just like, I really don't. The guys like at the gyms and the guys who train, you know, that I train with, that are pros, these guys train really hard. Sure, they train strict. They train with proper form and everything. But there's the hidden ingredient is the passion and the fury and the aggressiveness with which they attack the weight, which is missing in all these elements of optimization and programming and, you know, splits and all this shit. So just had to get that out there. So taking advantage of the body fat loss, the diet, bringing the volume up, hitting the plateaus, changing the exercise selection a little bit to include some of your weaker areas. Like in my case, I've been stuck on 3 different exercises with the legs to build up those PRs and build up the strength. Now I have to include some other isolation moves such as walking lunges, you know, leg curls and stuff like that, which I had not been doing. So I could intensify the other things. And this is what I've been doing also with the shoulders and arms. doing a higher volume, higher exercise selection, staying at the working weight for more sets, and trying to increase overall work volume without being concerned with hitting PRs, or at least weight PRs. Rep PRs are always welcome. One more rep than last time. If you're doing 2 plates and you do 6, 7, or 8, and man, one day you come in and do 10, well, that's a PR, that's great. And then you can try to do 11 and 12, and if you can do 15, 225 is too easy for you. You have to start working the 245s, and then your tops 265s. But anyways, I ramble on a little bit. So to recap this session, this idea: lowering the calories, keeping the protein high, lowering the fat, modifying your carbs, not pushing the weight at the gym to higher and higher levels, staying at your maximum plateau, and you should know where that is exactly because you do log things down, and staying at that plateau, working more sets, increasing some more exercises into your exercise selection. And one last thing, I substituted cardio, pre-workout cardio. Like I go in and I warm up for 15 minutes on the bicycle, warm up 15 minutes on the treadmill. No more. No more. I do 15 minutes of ab circuit, which gives me the same results. I'm huffing and puffing, my body temperature is up, my heart rate is up, but I'm working my abs. I'm not going to tear a muscle, I'm not going to hurt myself, which is the idea of warming up. You want to go, and warming up on your sets does not cut it because your body temperature is still not high enough. You're not in sync with your breathing, and so this is why a pre-workout warm-up is important. But instead of doing cardio on a machine, I do cardio on an ab circuit, and I kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So that's basically it. For today, guys and girls. God bless everyone. Thank you for following me and for joining me in this journey. We'll see you in the next episode. So today on our delt and arm session, we start off with this new technique of doing pre-workout abdominals. And here just trying to, since it's not like abdominal training per se, I try to do these as strict, as slow as possible, really just trying to feel every single muscle fiber in my stomach, just taking it easy, relaxing. It's just your pre-workout. And so there's no stress, no performance stress on the, I have to do these hard sets of abs. No, just get the blood flowing instead of doing it on the bicycle or on the treadmill, which is kind of aimless as far as bodybuilding goes. Incorporating the abs, which is actually much more functional for bodybuilding. You want to have highly defined, well-built abs. And to do that, they say the abs are built in the kitchen. Misinformation, built. They say they're built in the kitchen. No. They're revealed in the kitchen, which means that you peel off the layer of fat and you reveal the muscle underneath. And this is where so many people are tricked by the words that they use. Come on, use proper words. You don't build abs in the kitchen. You reveal them. So here we go. You build them here in the gym. You build them by doing these exercises. Now the hanging leg raises with the 1 leg at a time, let me tell you, man, I was feeling the crease between the oblique and the abdominal rectus like I have never, ever felt it before. This is like the most targeted thing I have ever done for my abs. Most simple move, just lifting your knee to trying to bring it to your chest, but crossing it over a little bit. And you can play around with it, find out what works best for you. This is not a one-size-fits-all. I just started doing this movement after so many years of training. So there's always something ahead. The best is always ahead of you if you're constantly on the search, constantly trying to improve, and you're willing to learn and experiment especially. People should be trying to find their best angles, their best way of lifting. If somebody says, no, you have to flare your elbows for doing the incline bench, but then you find it, you tuck them in and it's better, or it's the opposite, or it's 3/4 or halfway true. You have to find out what works for you. Fortunately, hopefully you won't get injured in the process like I was by doing things according to the way that experts had taught me. And of course, it doesn't work for me, and I had to modify my lifting. So here, just putting in the work volume before getting to our lifts. And of course, hanging has the extra benefit of loosening up the shoulders a little bit. It actually is a therapeutic way of healing your shoulder when you have impingements and things like this. And so I don't have any at the moment, thank God. But it just, just added benefits. Pre-workout abs instead of cardio, hanging on the apparatus. And here we go to our. Here I kind of mixed up the video, and this was the last set I tried here with 265, and I failed. This was a mistake in editing, guys. Please forgive me. That was not meant to be in there. So here we start out. There we go. We start out with one plate. Trying to get, and this is very important, to get the seat just right. You're on the Smith machine, so the angle is everything. You want to find the best angle for you, where you can apply the best torque, the best force, and not put all the pressure on your joint. Here, of course, it's coming down to the upper back. It's going to the chest, yes, but the antagonistic muscles in the upper back are cushioning and springing the movement up. And of course, nobody's going to deny that your shoulders are involved. If you try to get into a debate with somebody, they'll never be able to say, oh, but your front, delts aren't being worked. Of course they're being worked. This is a sitting, it's almost straight up. You have to incline just a little bit so it doesn't come down on your face. And so there we get the proper angle. We're up to 200 pounds, just doing singles here. And it's feeling very easy. Now, did another set here. Just warming up, taking our time, warming up with the Smith machine. So enjoyable. Now here with, also this was a warm-up set. Just doing one because this was going up. I was going to see how high I could go. And with the 245, got that. And then I tried the 265, and this is where I bombed. But now I know that's where my limit is. So now we start working on our plateau. This is where we are, 2 plates, and my PR here is 6, and so anywhere between 4 and 6 is fine to get into work volume. And first set, I think I got 4 here, and just putting in the sets. So it's great to feel confident to be able to do these 2 plates. It's good for the ego, for the self-esteem, because truth be told, this is something that we like to do, is to lift heavier weights. And for me, it was always a big hang-up, and it still is. Why am I not overhead pressing 3 plates? And this is what I'm working towards. And so when I couldn't even press 2, I said, well, this has to be fixed. And I have fixed it. I am pressing 2 plates, even if it's only 4 or 5 reps, but I consistently do 4 or 5 reps. And I get in, like 3, 4, 5 sets of these. And so it's building up the confidence, first of all. Like when I'm fresh, I've been off this machine for, more than a week or so, I can come in, I know that I'll hit PRs. It's like, it feels easy. It feels light. It feels doable. Not overwhelming. It's like, oh my God, I can't even move the weight like that one 265 attempt. And so this is just very enjoyable here at this juncture, getting in a lot of torque. And this is my back offset where I drop the weight down to 185 and I go for reps. My top set here has been 16 reps, and today I got 13. So I did feel a little bit of overall, I did feel a diminishment in the overall strength and power on the press, and yet it's more, how would I say, it's more consistent, even though my absolute weight wasn't, the highest. So here we go to the front delt raises. I mentioned in the presentation that some people say you shouldn't do front raises because you do a lot of pressing movements and you involve your front delts. And for me, that just wasn't true. I wasn't getting the proper development in the front delt, and so I'm resorting to these. And I've been doing these for 2 sessions now, and I can see the visible improvement. The vein on my left shoulder is starting to show, the brachiocephalus that goes down the bicep. Just started to show on my first attempt, and now my second session I put in twice as much work as the time before, and with a little heavier weight, some more reps, getting in more work volume, and overall just feeling really, really, really good with these front delt raises. I'm very excited for this exercise. I never do these, or I have never done them truly. I guess when I first started lifting, I gave them a try, but I didn't incorporate them because of that mantra that, bench pressing and doing all this and you get enough front delt work. Well, not everybody is built the same. And for me, I need like specific isolation work on my front delts. Maybe you do too, maybe you don't. Depends on your body, depends on you. So here I'm just, increasing the work volume on the front delts and getting the benefit for sure. And of course, by this time, really feeling excited about the delt training, coming off, some really good sets on the Smith press. And so decided to go here for the rear delts, really contracting the upper back. I'm not that pedantic about isolating the rear delt. Like I said, the perfectionist kills the good enough, and this really is good enough if you're using proper weight. Here I'm doing with the 40-pound dumbbells, and subjectively, as I'm doing the lifting, all the stress is on my rear delt. I feel the rear delt more than traps or anything else. That's what I'm going for is by feel also. But a significant amount of weight is also incorporated. So, 40s, 45s, go up to 60s, 70s. And sure, you help out with some of the upper back muscles, and that's great. You get greater upper back development. Like, oh, who's going to, not want that? And so here we go for the side laterals with some fairly light weights with 25 pounds. Now, they say the weight is not the important thing. It actually is. This is like another fallacy people want to believe. But sometimes, like I did it, my heavy weights, I've been doing them. And so today I just decided to do reps in strict form for a set with lighter 25ers. And, it felt good. It's all good as long as you're not married to these light weights. So here doing the standing dumbbell curls with 50 pounds. 3 sessions on using these 50 pounders, and it's still a struggle. They say, well, lower the weight. No, then you won't struggle as hard. You want to struggle. You want to struggle. This is like the most stupid thing I've ever heard, is like when they see somebody struggling is to ask them to lower the weight. It's in the struggle that you're gaining the strength. They're trying to rob you, bro. They're trying to steal your effort. So you want to struggle. If you're making it so easy that it's perfect form and it's very easy to perform, you're not working hard enough. You're just not. Anyways, we're doing here these regressions, running the rack, going down to 35s or 40s. These are 40s, I think. Yeah, 40s. I can't read the dumbbell there. I think they're 40s, or if they're not 40s, they're 35s. But anyways, getting a good pump there, and then we go down to the 30s. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. 50s, 35s, and 30s. And this was feeling very light, but no matter how light the dumbbell, after a certain amount of work, it's still a challenge. You can't do your last reps. It's like your arm won't move because it's completely congested. The forearm was completely pumped. It was just ready to, it's just, I can't do anymore. Have to wait a significant amount of time between exercises now. Although I did these with a considerable tempo, I don't think I rested for more than a minute between sets. But here I did rest for like 5 minutes and then grabbed this 60-pound short bar, this short barbell, they're fixed weight, 60 pounds. Very moderate weight, but you'd be surprised. You'd be very surprised. And here, really trying to just contract the muscle, really just trying to focus on the crunch, really just making the biceps. Now, the seated dip machine, it's always been a good exercise for me. I very rarely use it, though. It's like, maybe twice a year, actually. I don't know why I never use it, because no matter how hard I work on it, no matter how pumped or how far into failure I take this, I don't feel DOMS the next day. I don't feel muscle soreness or anything, and I have to question if it's actually working. So here started off with like half the rack, like 70 pounds, 80 pounds, and then we're just increasing by 30 or 40 pounds. At the end, I did the full stack, which is 190 pounds, and yeah, the inside of the arm, like, well, obviously it's the tricep, but how do I describe it? It's the lower inside part of the trap was really getting cramped. It was like really pumping up. And so I was doing some intensifiers there of trying to do very slow reps, and then I would speed it up and do faster, like just as fast as I can, and then do it slow again, pause for a second, and then increase the speed, doing all these crazy techniques to just try to hit the triceps as hard as possible, taking advantage that it's a fairly easy exercise to perform, fairly strong on it, and coming off the heavy shoulder presses, this felt too easy. Like it just felt really easy. I've been strapped into 4 plates on each side at other gyms, and I can still do them. So these dips, I don't know. It's a useful exercise. I will continue to do them for these pump sessions, for these arm routines, as long as some of the exercises are truly a struggle, because you need to struggle. Now, here, this seated cable, every single person I saw on this machine before I got on it was doing half reps. They were bringing the the handle like halfway down, just doing the very very top portion, like a very truly a half rep. And here taking advantage of the machine and stretching all the way down. And here, another exercise that's been a while, the concentration curl. The concentration curl with 50 pounds. These 50s are feeling comfortable. It's like before they were very hard. I mean, I could barely do 1 rep. And it is a struggle, but now I can actually manipulate them to the point where I'm squeezing the biceps with the 50 pounds. And so, and one arm is stronger than the other. My right hand is a bit, I can do more reps with my right than my left. It just is what it is. These muscular imbalances